Today I'll talk about, as the topic suggests, video beyond PC. And I think I chose this topic because video has been like the number one medium for advertisers ever since cinema was invented, and for the consumers also, it is the medium, whether on TV or whether it was on your PC. And now, actually, the first time video is a medium which has gone beyond a location and you can use it anywhere else. So I just wanted to talk about video in China, because online video, China is the most advanced market in the world right now. Advertisers are there, and what the future holds for this medium, which has been ever since the number one. Yeah, so the first thing I think all of us are aware of is that Chinese consumers are using smartphones, and the numbers are really, really high. The thing is that not only they are using it, but they use it for around two and a half hours every day, which makes you think that what can they be doing it for 2 hours except checking news. The other thing which we also know is that video has been really big. Yeah, and I think this is a debate which we have with a lot of our clients and advertisers, is that does screen size and impact people watching videos? Will people will be holding a screen all the time? Because if you look at it, whether it is PC, TV or cinema, all those three mediums were actually just sitting back in your chair and watching the content rather than trying to hold something and with their hands this thing. So the key thing was that obviously it has not impacted consumers and deterred them, because we can clearly see in the last 3 years the growth is like just gone 3 times of mobile OTV, and these are the people who check in and have been watching video. So the key thing is that the first myth which was always existing is that consumers will not watch video on mobile because of the screen size or because they have to hold in that regard. I think one thing which we have to take note also is that it has to do with like 4G has come to China in the last 2 years, 3G has come to China, which has actually opened and even driven this boom for people to watch. But the most interesting thing is not only that a lot of people are watching video, is the amount of time which are watching video. And I think this is something which, if you can look at it, that the time on PC has been stagnant for like last 3-4 years. But if you look at mobile, it's just gone from 15 minutes to 25 to 46 minutes. And I think there are two things which we can actually see in the consumer behavior. One is that they are watching a lot of it, but in fact it is kind of at a stage where the 2 points are meeting, and consumers will now be spending more time watching video on mobile than on a PC in the future. And I think this actually will kind of change the way advertisers look at online video as a medium and what the opportunities are. So this actually will change how things are. And obviously, if consumers are spending a lot more time, what you'll see is that the traffic will also move in this direction. So as you can see that the traffic on the PC is kind of nearly constant at 28 trillion page views, which is happening. But what has happened is that the traffic on mobile has gone extensively. Obviously, PC still has around 500 million of users compared to mobile OTV, which is only 200 million. But the gap will close in that regard with cheaper broadband, cheaper 4G in that regard. And I think this obviously is again a turning point in terms of how advertisers will use it. Yeah. So the other thing is that given that that growth is not driven only by selling devices, but the content availability on that. And what we have seen is that, like the biggest player in the market, Youku, their 31% of mobile audience is actually coming from mobile, which is very good. But actually, when you look at the page views which are coming, they are even higher in that regard. So, which is 54%. So, like half of Youku inventory right now is on inventory of page views are on mobile. So I think the way marketers look at mobile, how their sites are designed, as well as how video content is being served, is going to change. Here I've actually looked at a lot of sites in the market, and in the top you can see actually Youku and Chi, both are big players whose content has migrated to mobile, and we are getting a lot of page views. But the another thing noticed is actually PPS, which essentially started as a medium which was on PC, but now actually everything is coming from app, and because their content is very different. So the overall thing is that the for the smaller players who come new, like Coolio or this thing, for them to develop an app and hit is very hard, because in the mobile world, what we are also seeing is that the first mover advantage, because if somebody downloads the app, actually plays into your hands, so therefore the dominant players become more dominant in that regard, and it's much harder to beat those guys on mobile than on PC, because PC you can drive through search and other content overall. So obviously with the huge growth of people, and I think this is relevant to a lot of advertising and especially the cosmetics forum, because the people who are actually watching these the content on mobile are actually the rich guys. It's like if in the gender there's not much of difference, but you can look at the older group as well as the higher income group are growing much faster. And I think it makes sense that a higher end smartphone is a costlier phone, and a costlier phone will be bought by richer people, and the richer people have the time and the inclination to actually watch the video. So it kind of drives advertising on for the richer brands and the cosmetic brands overall. Yeah. And again, this chart also exactly shows the same. And this is a very good chart to show the difference of the penetration. And so when you start at low income, what you can see is that actually the PC reach among those target groups is much higher than mobile. But as the income increases, actually the reach of mobile OTV is much higher, in fact double in that regard. So again, this kind of tells you that if you're actually targeting upper income people who you want to sell a more expensive product, it is going to be your mobile video is going to be there. And I think currently what we see amongst advertisers is that there are actually polarized views of how to use mobile. Like there are a lot of people who say that the screen size is too small, I will not use it, and there are people who really believe in the engagement. And I think that has something which is an opportunity for all the advertising industry to prove the effectiveness of what mobile advertising on mobile video will look like. So this is like I showed before the chart, and this says the same thing, that actually now the traffic on online video on mobile is actually 33%. So 1/3 of the market actually is now people are watching it on mobile. But what we look at it, the advertising is obviously lagging behind. So everybody will think that okay, and it is not a cost issue, because unlike say digital and TV, where digital is more expensive and therefore even the time spent cannot be caught up, for mobile OTV and mobile and normal PC, the CPMs are exactly the same. In fact, sometimes the CPM of mobile is a bit higher or tablet is a bit higher. So it's not a function of it's being cheaper in that regard. It's a function of advertisers not actually advertising on mobile in that regard. And there are reasons for it in that regard, because if you look at the big advertisers, and I think all of them are into some amount of cosmetics space, P&G, Unilever, Marubi, L'Oreal, and so most of them. And if you look at it, all of them are just touching the surface overall. But the reason why that's happening is also because there's serious lack of measurement in mobile right now, and I think people in the previous forums had referred to SDK coming in and also fingerprinting coming in, but still the measurement systems are not really there. And the other thing also is that in terms of even audience measurement, like when I was even doing this presentation, there is not too much data on tiers, or if I want to go really and break it down, it is what is the number one channel on say tier 3 for mobile. That data itself is not there. So with the data currently lacking on both audience and on even tracking the advertising, it is but evident that regardless of how much time consumers spend on the medium, the big advertisers and the leaders in the industry will not lag on. But I think what has happened is that at least we are seeing some of the advertisers and some of the tracking vendors offering SDK right now, and therefore this is something which will take off. But I think it's more and more advertisers needs to take into account the tracking in that regard. The other thing is also that just like the video had moved from cinema to TV to PC to mobile and now back to tablet, I think video is going to get fragmented even more. And I know that smart TV, and there have been new regulations by Chinese government on what can be put on smart TV and what cannot be put on smart TV. But I think this is the biggest challenge which is going to face, because it is actually giving you, smart TV is something which gives you the best of both worlds. It's a bigger screen, you can sit back, but it also kind of lets you have access to all the content, video on demand in that regard. So, and the challenge for advertisers is that with the bigger screen size, how will the viewing habits change? Because currently in mobile, it's mostly replicating what you watch on PC. But I think with smart TV, there's not only content, but the audience behavior may also change to a great extent. And my last point is also the data challenge which is going to come within online itself, because currently also in the market, as you would have seen in a lot of my charts, there's PC data and there's mobile data, but there's no integrated data in terms of video in that area. And I think with smart TVs coming in and Apple iWatch and also maybe Google Glass and other wearables, what will happen is that video will become seamless and everywhere, but the measurement industry is still lagging behind in terms of providing a single data source which advertisers can plan on. And I think if that happens, until that happens, the biggest player like PC will keep dominating all the time because you can't integrate the data. So those are the three challenges which I think are going to have the industry. So just to summarize, I will say that mobile OTV has come in and it's really growing fast, and it will keep growing. What is more exciting for everybody is that it has kind of debunked some of the myths that people don't like to hold things or will not hold it. I think if the content is there, people are willing to actually watch it and hold it for a long time, and 45 minutes a day is a huge amount of time to spend on mobile video right now. And these are the people who the cosmetics, the luxury segment wants to target, because they are the people who have the higher end devices who can watch high resolution video, and then this presents a big group in that regard. Obviously, I have talked in length about how the divide between the audience moving whereas advertising not moving, and also the challenges in that. The first, as I highlighted, is about the measurement part overall, and where we need to get better at the measurement part. I think the other thing which is there is not only tracking but also effectiveness. I think this is something which we are at OMD also trying to answer in terms of whether screen size has or watching and advertising on a smaller screen has any influence on the effectiveness of advertising. I know that though TV has existed for a long time, there's no study done on whether smaller TV is more effective than bigger TV. But I think with devices, it becomes very important because it is also location-based. And lastly, what I was talking about is that with smart TVs coming in, the challenge for advertisers will be even greater. But I think this is the opportunity for at least the consumer to benefit, and then advertising will follow. So I see that these are the three things where there's a lot of headway to be made, and especially in China where online video market is very mature. There are 6-7 players, and it may be an opportunity for somebody to take lead and therefore redefine the market. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.